Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 56th episode of the HSBG podcast. I'm your host, Educatedcollins, and I'm here with my constant co-host, Shadybunny. Shady, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, Collins. How are you?
I woke up like 30 minutes ago, and I realized that today is Friday, and I need to get all the topics done, and I need to work on the podcast. And I was like, Shady, I just woke up. I'm going to be late. And he's like, maybe we'll do it tomorrow. But I was like, tomorrow's Lobby Legends. I don't want to start this podcast in the midst of it after everyone's really going to be talking about that. So let me just work really hard for like the next, 10, 20 minutes, get some topics done, and then we can like filter through it after that setting. And here we are. Yeah, sorry, guys. I'm a little bit late. That's basically what I'm saying.
It's all good.
That's all you. I had a whole speech, and you're just like, "That's fine."
All of it was good.
Okay, fine, whatever. This podcast, I don't have too many topics, but I don't think we need that many, right? We basically know what we're going to be talking about. This whole stream, it's Naga patch. We've been waiting for it. Last week you said you were excited. You're ready. They're ready to play, and we're gonna have some interesting discussions around it. This whole podcast is generally gonna be about Nagas and whatnot, because that's really what my brain could think about in 10 minutes. That's what we're gonna do. But yeah, we always start with our Battleground Weekly overview, I would say, and that hasn't changed, right? And I think before the patch, it doesn't really matter. I didn't really play that much actually before the patch this week, but I've been playing a lot since Nagas came out, and I don't know. I expected this. I expected the meta, but I've been playing a lot of Nagas. They're pretty strong, and stuff. People keep asking me what my opinions are. And even yet, I still don't have opinions. It hasn't been a week. I need like a week minimum to really. I have some opinions, to be fair. Like, that's a lie, but it's not set in stone or anything. I can't really tell you, my opinion won't change here. Because my opinion day one is different than my opinion day two. And my opinion yesterday is also different. And then probably tomorrow will be a little bit different. So I'll just tell you, this is a good time to kind of share my opinion at its particular point, but it's very likely to change in the future. So I'm just keeping that in mind when I speak. But generally, I've been playing a lot of the patch, and I have been playing with a lot of Nagas because of it, and I do think there are some things to discuss about Nagas overall. But it's been interesting, to say the least, and also, like, I don't like playing against streamers personally. I don't like it, and all my lobbies have some streamer in it. Like every lobby, it's crazy. In NA, this must be an NA thing. Maybe you'll notice it this month, but like every lobby has a streamer. I'm like, stop, leave me alone. And then it makes it hard to like just insta win, because there's always like a challenger at the end. Someone trying to smack me out, and I'm just like, please leave me alone. But how was your week, Shady?
I played some Hades before the patch came out. That was fun. And then,
I played some Divinity Original Sin 2 before the patch came out. That was pretty fun.
Me too. So yeah, just went really max relaxing pre-patch. Just make sure I'm good to go, and yeah, good to go. It's been fun. It's just been jamming games. Honestly, not too much to say, indeed. Like, we'll just talk about it in next topics, I guess. I had to play on an A because EU was locked for me on day one.
Yeah.
So time to see what all this NA talk is about. Or Collins is like, but you're playing on EU, Shady. If on an A, this shit wouldn't fly on an A. So, just seeing what it's all about now.
To speak on that, they said a small number of accounts, right? But there's not that many streamers, right? Like, compared to the general player base. And I saw it hit quite a few like streamers, like at least like 3 or 4. right? And if you just like the streamer population, that's like like
It's a huge
five,
chunk.
6, yeah, 7% of them. So I feel like it's more than a small. It's more than a handful. But apparently, those people can't access their main, or not their main, but they can't access their account even if they restart on install. Apparently, you would need to do like a full reset of the game or something to be able to enter into it. And that's interesting, right? Because it might mean that it's not server sided. It might be like hardware or something, or so. But
I mean, I don't know if it's fixed. I haven't logged in yet. I just played it out.
yeah. But some people couldn't access their account. I didn't have that issue, but it is a pretty big deal, especially if you're trying to like climb, not being able to play the first day. So welcome to NA. Yoko, so we'll see how it goes for you. But other than that, we can move on to our next topic, right? Pretty much the meta, the Nagas, are they good? I'm reusing Slide Shady. I had 10 minutes. This is. But overall, just kind of what's your thoughts on the Naga? Are they good? Should you be playing them? Or anything else contesting Nagas, etc., etc.?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's obviously a ton of thoughts here, and
Right.
we'll
Yeah.
we'll,
This
we'll
this
go
is
out
this
on
is basically
tangents.
the whole
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
whole
We'll go on a ton
podcast.
of
So yeah,
tangents and
yeah.
this and that. But yeah, I mean, the basic thing is that Nagas are like very dominant, right? So if you look at the lobbies, a lot of people are really pushing for it. But when playing a bit more, I've been playing less and less Naga. Still a lot, right? I play it when I can, but
So instead
I
of like
think
99, you've like dropped down to like 80. Is that what you're
uh,
saying, or
well,
what? What? What's
I play it when I can. So I guess the explanation here is that
so
I
so?
was, I was yeah,
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
cut you off right now
Sure.
because I feel like this is gonna be a free flowing. Feel free to cut me off as well, right? But essentially, what you're trying to say is like you try to go Nagas, essentially, and then if you don't, you do something else, or
Yeah, but you have to say like what constitute Nagas, right? For me, it's basically you try to go with Thissa, right? Because if you have anything but a Thissa on your board, it doesn't matter. From what I've
yeah,
experienced.
I guess that's more
Yeah,
accurate.
because
There's
there's
not
yeah. So I had too many Naga games before where I just had like, yeah, I've kind of like big lurkers and I've got Shoal and it's kind of garbage, right? It doesn't really do anything. So that's pretty much it.
you need the
So
Athesa scaling, yeah,
yes, I don't play Nagas unless I have a Tissa. Almost, right? Maybe
right,
there's an outlier here or there. But that's what I'm doing different. The first day or two, I was still playing Nagas without a Tissa sometimes.
right, yeah. That's a good point. But if you don't get that, then you're doing something else, right? But are you leaning to get Athesa? Are you like trying to?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
I sort of have a bit of a system where I look at my heroes at the start and I evaluate what
Every
is the
hero can
chances
play
of.
Naga Shady. I'm just.
Not really, right? Not really. Like
Then don't play
like
those heroes.
I had a top two Sarfang game because I was very very committed to not playing Nagas and I was super
You
aggressive
played
at
Max.
killing the other people. Yeah, I got a top one my F game because I was extremely aggressive. Like I tripled for the 6, I missed. I got a fell bet, and I just went like super aggro
Yeah.
on the beast.
I, I
Yeah,
I have one without Nagas. That is true.
yeah, yeah. Me too.
It's not like you have to play Nagas if you want to win. You can win without it, but
The vast majority of winning boards will
yeah,
be Nagas.
yeah. It's a
Vast,
lot easier to
vast
win.
majority.
That's very true. Um, but it is interesting how demanding. Like I guess like the Nagas, like if you don't have the Athesa, it feels like what if I do? Like
Like,
I
yeah.
sometimes you can get away with it with like a super early lava lurker and like that some other generation of uh spellcraft, but it's a lot
That's
harder.
that
I've
more
seen
depends on
people
your
win with
opponent.
the avenge one instead
Yeah,
of.
but to me, that means that your opponents were just not strong,
I mean,
right?
not
Like if you're
everyone's gonna get a this every game, right? So
almost every lobby, right, the winners will
yeah,
have a test.
well, I mean, or die, right? Like, because sometimes,
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes the people that were going to get a Tessa, they died, right?
yeah,
That's true. But So, but those are the outliers. I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's extremely hard to do well with Nagas if you don't have a Tissa.
Yeah,
Because
I would say
most of
so.
the,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I was saying like I have seen boards that are really powerful with no Athesa, and usually they have like the Avenge one. Like I've seen that,
yeah.
or the Spellcraft 6 and something else, and they'll find a way, and even without the Athesa, like you could still scale. It's just not as good, right? The for sure it's
Mhm.
not as good, but I've seen them have like, oh, this is a pretty powerful board, and I see their board, they have no Athesa, and I'm like, that's
So
I'm surprised you can do that like without it.
before we continue, should we maybe lay out like very quickly the basics of how the Naga comp works and what is the most
Sure,
efficient
and
way?
I can put the cards on the screen as well.
Sure, sure. You want to talk about it or should I?
Dude, you are the one that lays things out on the basics. I'm just talking about how I
Sure, sure, sure,
feel, and
sure.
that's.
I think it's I think it's also good, right? Because we might have some listeners is like getting into the patch late, or just people have been playing, but they're not really sure what the optimal board is, and we could talk about what's been working better for you. But the basic structure, right, is you're going to build around the Tissa. Tissa's on the screen. Tissa is the 6-drop that every time you cast a spell, 4 friendly Nagas gain +1/+1, herself included. So
Kali
um,
Naga, I like to call her.
yeah, so she doesn't have to buff herself, but she can, which is a huge difference. So you only need 4 Nagas to begin with. Then the second key piece, in my opinion, to a strong Naga comp is
I
the
wonder.
Siren, the 3-drop.
Okay, I was wondering what you were gonna say here, and I agree.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think that people
it's
are
night and
figured
day.
out like that's
Yeah,
where the power comes from.
absolutely night and day, one with or without. So the Siren is a 3-drop, which triggers all your spellcraft at the end of the turn. So this means that when that Siren triggers, not only are you gaining the benefits from your spellcraft minions, you are also triggering your Atissa per spellcraft minion on your board, times 2 if it's a golden Siren or you have 2 Sirens. So that's phenomenal. And then the rest is really bonus. Obviously, you need spellcraft minions, but I would say those two are really the core. Now, ideally, from what I've seen, you want Glow Scale because she provides divine shields.
Mhm.
That's the 5-drop. With a Siren on the board, the Glow Scale will also divine shield itself, which is a huge upside. And then the others, usually it'll be a shoal, like a golden shoal, which is a 3-drop that gives +1/+1, or in golden case, +2/+2 per Naga on the board to itself, which also means that at the start of the turn, you get the shoal spell. You can allocate that wherever you like. And that's usually it. Now, an amazing minion to really kick off your scaling, so a minion you want early, is the Tender or the Orgozola, whatever its name is. It's the 6-drop that's 5/9 stat line.
Oh,
Every
okay. I
turn,
thought you were
it'll
going Lava
discover.
Lurker. I guessed wrong.
I I don't care about Lava Lurker at all. I think it's just completely overrated, completely unnecessary. It slows down your scaling.
I think early it's pretty good, but
Yeah, I guess we play a little bit.
the boards that win don't need it essentially.
Yeah, you
'Cause-
don't need. But I mean, if you happen to have a golden lurker which you've been pumping, sure, right? You don't have to sell it. But the lurker itself does not have spellcraft on it, which means that it will overall slow down your scaling. Even though it gets huge, your board in its entirety will be smaller. Or at the very least, the vast majority of the stats will be allocated on the lurker, which makes it more vulnerable to getting poisoned or
Leroy's,
Leroy
yeah,
or
yeah.
whatnot. Especially if you had to taunt it early, which happens sometimes,
It
you're
happens
vulnerable
most
to
of the
Leroy.
time. I don't think I see lurkers without a taunt like in the late game.
I sometimes try to avoid it, but I
That
don't
must be
really
a
like
use.
it.
Like I mean, all the games. If they have a lurker, it's huge with taunt. Like
It's taunted,
yeah,
right? Yeah. So, anyways, we are talking about the Orgazola, or I just call it Tender because its full name is Orgazoa or
I've
Orgazoa.
never read the name of this card.
Yeah, I just call it Tender, right? The last bit of Tender, I just call it Tender. But essentially, this card is what really, like think back to Doomsayer turns where you're suddenly like, hey, my hand is full of demons and I can power level and I have a bunch of buffs and this is cool, right? That's kind of what happens here. Only you're already on 6 or on 5 if you tripled into it. It's really in combination with the Siren. Sometimes I will just play 2 Sirens on my board just to trigger this thing more often. So, because it's spellcraft, the Siren triggers it, which means that you get extra Nagas in your hand for free. These Nagas very often have spellcraft on them, which means that they work with your Atissa,
You,
or sometimes you'll just gain economy with the coin thing. You'll sometimes just get an extra Atissa. It's actually
you know what I'm thinking? Some like sucker who hasn't played this meta but is like competing in Lobby Legends is like, I'm just gonna listen to Collins and Shady. Like that's gonna be my
yeah,
strat.
it's awesome, right? Like I really hope that there's like one or two people competing in Lobby Legends that are listening and be like, yeah, that's cool. Let's see if there's anything. But I mean, most people that compete in Lobby Legends have spammed. They're super prepared,
I hope
and
so. Well,
most like the vast majority of what we talk here is going to be old news to them. But yeah, this is for everyone, right?
I mean, there's still like
So
nuggets here and there. Like maybe people are like
yeah,
prioritizing
yeah,
lava too much, right? And they'll be like, oh, maybe I don't need to prioritize it. So they might learn
yeah.
a couple of things.
Like I see people buy it late sometimes. Like, what do you do? And I'm like, no, it's like
I've done that.
such a waste of your slots, right?
But yeah, it is.
Like it feels extremely powerful once you get the double Atissa. That's the point. So it's kind of like Cali for me. Like if we're talking a little bit more specific, where I don't buy random things if I only have one. I start buying everything if I have two. So if I have one,
Okay.
I'm just pushing for the good shit, right? I'll buy the coin because it's cheap. I'll buy anything I need, like Siren, like a second shoal, like a second glow scale or whatever it's called. But I'm not going to buy the random thing that gives taunt. I'm not going to buy the one drop, like screw that. I'm not going to buy the 4 drop that gives you the Wind Fury. That's too expensive for one Latissa. Like I'm really like if I'm having a good game at least, right? I will really push for the good stuff. So I'll get another tender, I'll get my golden siren, but I'm mainly just trying to roll to get another Atissa. The moment I get two Atissas, that's where it gets disgusting, where you just,
Whatever you want.
everything is just that's how you get like I've had boards with like 300
Uh,
Nagas.
yeah,
It's
dude. I fought somebody. It was like turn 8, and he had like 4 Atissas, 2
oof.
tenders, divine shield. Like he had a board that was like turn 11 or something on turn 8, and and one guy just died, so I took like 32, and I'm just like, why? And then I fought him in the late game to kill me, and I was just like, dude, why?
Fun
Like
game, right?
instead of someone else dying, I fight him and I lose, and I was just like, it's so unfair.
You
Like,
don't even get the top two, right? Yeah, that's the
yeah,
sad part.
so I don't know. You can go nuts, right? If you get the lucky
Mhm.
hits, it's just not fair. I really do think this card is a secret sauce. Like if you remove the tender, you'd actually reduce the scale, like the potential scaling of it quite a bit. Just because like the ability to like just generate a Tissas, because you're discovering a Naga, right? Like the chance you
Mhm.
hit, if you're on 6, the chance you hit a Tissa or Divine Shield or any of those like key pieces is actually quite high. So I do think like if you were to choose between if you're healthy on 6 and you're choosing between this one or the Atissa, I think this one actually gives you more um better scaling, I would say overall, because you can roll into Atissa. I mean, you can roll into this too, but
Yeah, you want to start with this one, right? The kickstart, but you do need to hit
yeah,
the
you
Atissa.
do need the Atissas. Yeah, another thing about this, I guess this meta, and is that there's only 7 copies, right? So the people
Yeah.
that get it first, they just it's so hard to contest them because there's so much less in the pool, and everyone's looking for the same card, right? So there will be people like just one Atissa, no synergy, right? And even though they're not winning, they're removing your chance of getting it, right? And the other people are just like, oh, I have double Atissa, I'm good, or whatever, and they'll just be scaling a lot earlier than you. So
It's a similar. Yeah, sorry, please.
yeah, when you try to get this second, right, end up being extremely behind. But because of that, um, it's hard to compete, right? You either get this early and people like high roll as fast as possible or level as fast as possible to get this, or they're just trying to get this and dying, or they're like, oh, I'm not early enough, I have to do something else, and then they'll like
Mhm.
play Buster. I don't know what comp you're playing to
Well,
continue.
I'd
I
say the
guess you're
most
playing
common.
Scam. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
When you see two Nagas, what that means is I tried to go Atissa and I now have two Leroys and two Mantids
And it's
and
yeah.
some Nagas, right? Like a
Yeah.
big lurker left over, and then I have 2 Leroys, 2 Mantids, and I'm just trying to go 1-for-1 with my cards and tying or take less damage.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hilarious how prevalent the spore has become, right? It's a leer, but spore is now in like every game. If you think about it
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
so much better than
Yeah,
Spores.
obviously. Well, in this
So,
meta, it's better than spore, right? But
yes.
it's because people aren't playing like trickster or anything where you need a spore, right? Because you can't. So in this particular meta, where I need to play this thing, and it's always good. Leroy's the king in that, right?
Yeah.
Where
Always good is a bit of an like this. I mean, that's a whole subject we can talk
I
about
mean,
is
we
Leroy.
can. I mean,
Right?
we can
Like
definitely talk
Leroy,
about Leroy.
where do you position it? What do you taunt? Right? All that cool stuff. So yeah, that's a very that's a do you want to go first maybe? Like your thoughts on Leroy? Like do you like the card? How do you use it and all that?
I don't like the card. I think
Okay.
it makes alternative late games very one dimensional in that you either get the nuts or you play this. That's like what else are you playing? Especially in this meta, it's too important, I guess. Like you even play this in Nagas, right? Like like that goes to show you like everyone wants the card, right? And then there's like not really um I mean early game maybe it's not as good, right? Because you can scale better. But
Mhm.
once it comes to a late game, you're trying to like win the lobby, maybe final battle, right? Everyone's looking for this because it can pretty much 1-for-1. The one thing you have to be careful of is like if you put it too early, people have like random weak taunts and it doesn't do anything, right? Like well, at least some opponents, but uh, later on, right? You don't want it to be too late, right, and not proc a divine shield, right? You want it to free kill a divine shield, so you have to get that balance. Maybe third sometimes is like where it can get the most value if it's not first, because sometimes you can just like snipe people's shields because they're not paying attention. And you just put it first and like, oh yeah, I kill everything. But if they are trying to play around, they know you have a Leroy, right? Then sometimes you can like delay it a little bit to try to get a little bit higher chance of better value. But it definitely warps the game around it. But I think that might be a Naga issue too, because I think if the meta was healthier, this wouldn't be as prominent. Because right now you can't really like you don't really see busters, you don't really see beasts that often. Like they can't compete. Like no, there's not really anything that can compete with the Naga scaling. So the weaknesses of Leroy aren't really being felt, right? Where Leroy against Death Rattles, if people were more playing Beast comps and you Leroy into Beast, so at Mama Bears it would feel pretty awkward. Or Leroy into like Buster if people were playing like Reborn or not the Beast variant, but the Death Rattle variant. But even the Macabre variant, you're still gonna get some death rattles from the Buster that the Leroy could go into. But
Mhm.
it would still, I think it'd be better in there because like you hit a deflector and that's like, ooh, that's a huge, or a Mecharo, that's huge, right? So it'd still probably be good against Buster, but especially like Beast. But there's not a lot of like particularly bad comps for Leroy to play into, right? Like Beast is the one that jumps out, but like elementals, maybe demons, but no one's really going to be playing juggler demons in the late game, right? You're probably playing like big big Felbat or something, or maybe big Wrath Weaver. So it'd still be good. What are the other minion types? Quillbores, same thing, right? Quillbores, you're 1-for-1. So there's not really any like there's
Pirate
not.
Scam is a particularly annoying one because they get to poke your Leroy quite often.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Pirate scam. That's okay. So yeah, there's not, but I mean that's not that common. Like I don't see that many.
I play it pretty
Yeah,
often.
we play it often, like more than other people. But I would say like it's not something I see too many people playing.
Sure.
So I just think there's not a lot of like comps that are being played that Leroy does horrible into, and
Yeah.
especially in this meta,
Right
like
now,
it's just
very
Nagas that
yeah.
you're focused on. So because of how strong Nagas are and how it's hard to counteract a Naga board with a different archetype, you're kind of forced to play this as a countermeasure. So you end up getting like Leroy's and Mantids, and and I mean these are 5 drops and 6 drops that you're looking for. So it's like the same game plan essentially. Like, oh, I need a level and try to hit a Tissa. If I don't hit it, I'm on 5, right? And then I need to roll for Leroy's and then and maybe get Mantis Queen somehow. So it's a very similar game plan, but what it does is every other strategy falls to the wayside unless you get super lucky and you're given like a perfect Buster or Frog or Comp or some other, like you're just given this in one turn. Like I won with Dragons, right? How did I do it? I rode double Caligos in one turn. Yeah, okay, well that might do it for you, right? Where you can do it, but if you're not getting those situations, you kind of have to default to these specific countermeasures because you know that your opponents are going to be playing this one comp most of the time. That if you try to force beasts from like in the late game, like, oh, let me switch into beasts or switch into elementals, let me buy a Nomi, like yes, you're asking to die. And so Nagas warp it, but also the addition of Leroy's warp the answer to the Nagas. So you only have those like real 2 options unless you get super lucky with the other archetypes. That's my thoughts. Yeah, no, I said too much.
It's all right. So I don't really mind the card.
Yeah, you are very lenient. I've noticed with things that have like very structured approaches. It's like, oh yeah, here we go. Then I do this, and then Leroy helps me fix this structured approach. It's fine.
I think that the Leroy isn't really. So when I'm playing Nagas, I don't lose to Leroy.
You don't lose to anything.
Yeah, exactly. Right? It's not like you suddenly like, oh, I have a Leroy. I countered his Naga player. It's more like they weren't full build yet, and I got lucky with my Leroy swing. I think it's more just something you play when you didn't hit, like you said, and you're trying to take less damage or so. But it's not like you're going to suddenly beat a full Naga build because you had a Leroy.
You can, right? But you need a comp yourself.
Yeah. That's the thing. But you're not going to just scam them out of nowhere.
No,
but you can have a Leroy and it can really hit the sweet spot.
Mantis
right?
Queen can scam, like, because it has Divine Shield. So if you have like double Leroy Mantis Queen and you have like enough types,
a good Naga comp is almost fully Divine Shield, right?
Yeah,
we're talking minimum 4 shields, if not more. Because
perfect Nagas beats everything. So let's ignore that. But if you're not like perfect Naga and you have like double Mantis, double Leroy, and like a good base, you can beat those comps. So you have to try for that. And another nice thing about the Leroy is it does reduce damage, right? Like that's pretty true. Where if you have Leroy double Mantis, you're not going to be taking 36.
Yeah, you're just trying to remove as many stars as possible.
Where if you're running like Macaw Gold,
you haven't killed a thing yet, yeah.
You're dead. You thought you were at 30. You thought you were safe. Now you're taking 36. Like, yeah. So that is something to keep in mind. Like, even if you aren't trying to beat the player, if you are healthy and you're like, I need to survive this fight so that they can kill someone else, like Leroy is still the answer. And
it's also great against Murlocs. Like, you do see Murlocs from time to time, especially with a Flurg in the lobby, right? They can kind of get there. Like I've played Flurg myself. I've played against Flurg.
Brand 6-drop Flurg.
Brand 6-drop, 2 Swolefins, 2 golden Swolefins.
That can do it for sure. But
yeah, like I've had 2 Swolefins of my own. We're like
400. You know what's annoying? I had that situation, and then everyone switched to Murloc's scam. And I was annoyed. I was like, let me just win my big stats, but no, they were good enough.
you actually, like, people say like nothing outscales Nagas. Murlocs outscales Nagas.
With brand.
Yeah. Well, obviously, right.
Wait, but you need a lot of pieces, right? Like you need the brand, and you need the 6-drop, and you got to get that early enough for it to scale. Because people are playing Nagas and they will get it fast enough. So if you don't have that brand scaling engine quick enough they can outpace you. It's not guaranteed that I have brand this, I'm going to outscale. You also have to high roll in a sense.
I'm not talking here that your average Murloc board is better than your average Naga board, but
It's
It is
doable.
very,
It's
it is
doable.
very
Okay.
possible.
Yeah.
It's very
Sure.
possible for a Murloc board to be bigger than a Naga board. Whereas if we're talking like it is very possible for an X other tribe to be bigger, like right now, I don't think it is very possible for any other tribe to be bigger than Nagas. But with Murlocs, especially if you hit the golden brand, that's where it gets really
If
silly,
I
right?
had buddies, I could do it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
could do it.
but you can.
But yeah, we don't have that. So yeah, it feels like the Naga boards are like there's buddies somewhere creating those boards, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, I'll finish up like my thoughts on Leroy, and then we can jump maybe to like what really makes the Nagas so silly. So my couple thoughts on Leroy is that it's usually Leroy versus a Dark Glow, I think, or a Glow Scale, whatever it's called, the 5-drop that gives shield, because that one is taunt, right? So most Naga boards are going to have Glow Scale on the board.
yeah.
So you're essentially most people I see that play the Leroy put it dead first
Mm-hmm.
because they're trying to hit the shield. I think my approach usually is I don't like it first. My favorite is actually to taunt the Leroy.
Yeah,
With the
that's also pretty good. Yeah.
yeah,
Let them
because they
go into
usually
it.
have their big.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, let them go into your Leroy
Yeah,
because you.
let them go into the Leroy because you're gonna kill a Mantid with shield. You're gonna kill their lurker with shield because what they're thinking is, oh, I'm gonna go first with my shield so that if I go into a Mantid Queen, it's not dead. Right? You don't want to
Yeah.
go first with an unshielded Naga because if you hit a Mantid Queen, that's awful, right? You lose your big Naga. But if you go first with a shield, you usually feel pretty okay about that. But if you attack into a taunted Leroy, ooh, you lose your big shield Naga into that. So that's
The
obviously
thing about that is, if you're also playing Nagas, right, you'll have the glow skill as well. So it's not guaranteed that, but it's still nice to just have it. Like I think that
yeah.
is,
It's an
yeah,
option, right?
yeah,
It's a thing that can happen.
yeah. It lets you
Um,
high roll.
yeah, I like the bumper into thing that can kill the glow scale, and I like to put like my really good Nagas more into the middle, and then Leroy like taunted in the backer. So I think if I can do that,
Yeah.
I'm usually happy. Or
It's
Mantids, right?
very
Whatever
weird
you're
talking to good players and being like, yeah, like I was
it's like,
like,
yeah, I understand
like
that. I
this,
totally get it.
like you're already thinking like steps ahead, like to counter people's boards. Like, oh yeah, just as a casual way to talk. But I don't think other people, if I'm talking to them, they'll just like casually drop this in there, and I'm just like, yeah, you're
Oh,
you're
it's why we have the
already
podcast,
talking
right? We
about
talking
like
about
things
video games.
5 steps ahead, and it's just nice to hear. That's all.
Uh, yeah, that's the main thing. Like some cool stuff to do, right? Is the Baron Ghoul, they're Leroy's. So I've
Yeah,
done some stuff
I
on.
never see that. Like you have to buy 6 gold worth of alternative cards, and
Well, no, it's when you're already playing Sephin, right? So I'll play Selfless, Baron Ghoul, Sephin, right? So like that can scam pretty hard, especially if you know that they're like
okay.
not optimal builds, so they're running 2 Leroys, right? And they're like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty rare.
Specific, right? But I think that a good poison build can beat a like an okay Naga build. Like a perfect Naga build is tough. Um,
Yeah.
Either
Okay.
way, just moving on, I guess. Like some niche stuff, but fun to talk about the Leroy. So essentially, most people put the Leroy first. So something that's also very specific, but I don't like to put Shoal the buff on my dark or my glow scale, just because the instinct is, oh, I have Siren on my board, so therefore my glow scale is going to shield. Therefore, the Shoal buff is going to get maximum value on a divine shield, but it's getting Leroy anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, but
So
that's late game stuff, right? Like mid game,
that's
like people when people don't really run Leroy's, right? You can get away with it. I mean, people still run it, but it's not that you kind of have
even
to
then, like
know. Look,
usually it's their biggest minion there as well. So unless you're really gonna kill their biggest minion, I don't like investing too much temporary buff into the glow scale because I'd much rather put Shoal on one of my Tissas and put
sure,
shield on the
yeah,
Tissa.
sure, yeah, sure.
Because that's then you have like this juicy big shield minion in the middle of your comp, nice and comfy.
Yeah, it's very
It's
fair.
gonna do a lot of work.
It's interesting
Whatever.
how like the positioning has changed because of Nagas. Like, it's not like
Yeah.
oh yeah, this is like optimal. It's like no, Nagas play glow skill because everyone has a glow skill. You have to
Yeah.
change for
There's a
it's
taunt, right? There's always a taunt
it's
event,
so
yeah.
random. Yeah. But I
So
mean,
you mentioned that you thought that the or at least one of the things that made Nagas really strong, and you would like to see it toned down, I believe, is the tender, the 5/9? Or did I
oh,
understand that?
I don't know how you would nerf this thing. I think it's
No.
I think it's a core engine, like for nutty comps. Like if I see an early Naga board with the nuts, they have this pretty much.
My my opinion here is that I feel like the Siren is the biggest culprit.
Well, it's because of this
Where
end siren. Like that's. But I
yes,
guess the
but
like I see
okay.
what you're saying. If you cut out the siren, this wouldn't feel as bad. Where if you cut this out and you keep the siren, it'd still be pretty powerful.
Yes, not entirely, because obviously it's still very strong, right? To
Yeah, yeah.
discover Nagas and to discover every turn. So I saw a suggestion for Tender to discover a spellcraft minion, so it cannot find Mortissa. I think that is fair. I don't know if that's going to be the change or if that's even a good change, but instinctively, I'm like, okay, this
So it
thing not
can't hit a
being
Tissa. That would nerf it a lot. Because
yes,
you also
and
can't
also
hit
not hit
siren.
Siren, can't
Yeah,
hit Siren, can't hit
yeah. That
Tissa. So
would
those
that
are two
would
things.
that would actually be pretty powerful of a nerf.
Mhm.
Right, but
And
I would be like,
yeah.
do I even want this now? Because those are the things I'm looking for, right? Like a lot of the
Early on,
time.
I think you
Early
do
on,
because
yeah, it's still a free card, right? It's
and it's
still
yeah,
it still
economy
procs your spells. It's
and
still
it's still
busts
a
it.
premium. It's still a premium thing to buy and cycle as well,
Yeah, yeah.
right? It's the premium.
And it also like guarantees that you're probably gonna get the shield. I mean, the shield one. You're probably gonna get, the piece you need. Maybe it helps get
Get your extra
triples.
show,
Yeah,
right?
it'll make triples easier. So it'd still be good. But it wouldn't be like, oh, I just discover Tissas every turn, like now until people count, they're all gone from the pool. So that is a pretty powerful nerf, but it would
Yeah,
still be playable. So that's probably
yeah,
the
not
way you
sure if
want to do
that's
it.
what they're gonna go with. But the main issue I have is what we talked about honestly on the podcast, where when the cards were revealed and we were looking at them, we said like, surely the Siren proc won't proc Tissa, right? That
Yeah,
seems just completely ridiculous. And then
yeah.
I remember Dom being in the chat like, no, it works. I was like, wow. So we could see that coming at that moment. Like that was not going to be
But
okay.
this
That was
wasn't a problem in their playtesting, Shady. You know,
I'm sure it
this
was.
was
Yeah,
perfectly okay. You know, in
perfectly
playtesting.
fine.
Yeah.
Well, it's some turns I gain more by ending my turn than the entire turn that I
Ah,
wrote.
yes, I've noticed that too.
That's
Oh my,
probably not
I
okay.
had this game where I had like Golden Siren and like, I think I had it was either two tenders or like a golden tender, and like every turn full board. I'm just like full board of things, and then I'm
Mhm.
like kind of board locked because I try to sell. I have 10 gold, right? I can't
Yeah.
buy anything. If I sell something, I get a spellcraft, and it's like discover a Naga, and I'm still board locked, so I have to sell something else, and then I'll get another thing, and then it's like okay, and then I had two, right? So I'll get a second one. Then I have to sell, so I'm like wasting 3 gold every turn just to start my turn, and even when even at some point I start getting the other like I'll get the divine shield one, I'll get like the shoal, and I couldn't finish my turn. And like my last like 7, 8 turns, I just couldn't finish it. I was just like trying to get stuff up. Maybe it's the NA lag or something, but I'm
Yeah.
from the very beginning. I'm like, okay, I need to sell. I need to buy, go play Discover Naga, go play buff, and I still have like random Nagas that I'm getting every turn, right? So I have to sell those two, like, and I just like couldn't finish my turn every time, and I'm just like, it's
Yeah,
it.
the experience I've shared that experience. The experience to put that into plain terms for the viewers is that by the time that you're ready to start your turn, half the timer is gone. No,
More than
that's no
half,
over exaggeration.
more than half.
Maybe well, I've gotten better at it because I on those turns I try to remind myself no thinking, no thinking, no thinking. Stop using your brain,
Imagine thinking.
just go. Like I'm just like roll because you're saying like waste gold, right? If you have something in the shop that you need, yes. So it depends a little bit. So it depends on the order in which the spellcraft procs. If you're getting your shields and your shoal,
I'm
you can
not
just like
okay. Well, I wasn't.
if
I
you're
was. It's
getting
the
the
worst.
tender first, yes, the tender
It,
first is
it,
awkward.
yeah. it's positioned to screw me over. It's like, oh, having
Yeah.
more.
So that might have been it, but I usually get the tender and the
I
shield.
think
I
it
get the
depends
tender.
on when you buy them, right? Like when you play them
Maybe
on the board, right?
I don't even know, but
I,
uh, either way, it is really just those turns. Is just go go go. Like I don't even look too much who gets what. I'm just like the shields. Those are important. The shoals like depends. If
whatever.
I'm
Yeah.
fighting someone relevant,
I
maybe.
guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like maybe I will look at what I'm gonna shoal. If I'm looking at my opponent, I'm like "Pfft, whatever. It's just like shoal stuff. Just go go go. And like I only pay attention for the shields. Like shield my pit.
It sucks, right? I'm too like focused on optimization. So I'm always
Yeah,
like, oh, I need to play
you
my
gotta
Naga
be
to get the
playing
show
well.
+1/+1. Like
No,
that's a
no.
thought in my
Do that
head.
shit.
That is
Do
a
that shit.
thought.
Like I'm just like, if you watch me play those turns, I'm literally
Oh
just play
man.
the card, play the
It-
card, play the card, play. Because I see a lot of people, right? What they do is they wait until playing their spellcraft until it's like they have like 10 spellcraft cards in their hand. And I just play it as it comes. Like if I roll into another Tissa, that's okay. I rolled another Tissa. That's good. Did I miss some buffs? Yeah, maybe, but I finished my round. Finishing the turn is also good. But I completely feel you, right? Because you're thinking like, but if I roll another Tissa, I will have missed the buff. And this Naga might be temporary, and I'm selling it. Like, I just go like I have a buff slot. Okay, sell the
yeah.
buff slot so it doesn't steal buffs. And I go
Yeah.
ram the cards, ram the cards.
If I'm doing that well in the game, I'll probably just play buffs and not care. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah, just play buff. Basically, like when you're like full golden Cali, right? You just buy battle cry, sell battle cry. But those turns go a lot faster. Your gold runs out very
yeah,
fast.
yeah.
But because of the tender and because of the siren, which is like on the games you're doing really well, it's a golden tender and a golden siren. And the games where you're doing really, really, really well, sometimes you'll end on a
I've
common siren or a
I've only
common
had
tender.
golden tender once. That
Oh,
I've been struggling, Shady. I've only had golden tender
to finish the
once.
turn when you have the golden tender, or
Huh?
to finish the turn when you get the golden tender, or struggling as in not getting golden
No,
tender.
struggling because as I don't get golden tenders, I'm
You
struggling,
poor
Shady.
thing. Holy
I
crap,
know,
man.
yeah.
How have you been getting by? You don't have
I
gold.
that's what I'm saying, dude. I've only gotten there once. I
It
dude,
feels
so
so
many
good.
games
Yeah.
I've just like not got double six, no Atissa, no tender. And I'm just like, come on, man. Come on, game. Like I just wanna win. I just want an easy win. Why you gotta do this to me? I'm just
Content.
and then I fight someone and they have the nuts and they kill me. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Kind of unfortunate. But the cards are good. I mean, Naga's pretty good, is my overall thoughts. You think they need a nerf or like some adjustments? Was it perfectly designed in iteration? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean the obvious one to me is that I don't think that the siren, at least not in its current iteration, should interact with the Tissa.
So, like, if you were, that would be your most problematic card of the bunch
Right now,
right now.
with the knowledge that I have, yes, I think that siren making your board larger with a Tissa is just kind of BS because it also you really really feel it when you have a siren or no siren,
Yeah,
right? Because we're
yeah.
talking, you have the 6 drop and you're doing okay, and you look at your Nagas and like they're just like reasonably status. What's going on here? It's no go, oh, I don't have the siren. That's what's going on. My entire board isn't gaining 100 when I end my turn. What is this? So yes, I'm not getting a bunch of cards for free. What is this bullshit? Yeah, so I think that would be my go-to interaction. But maybe if they change other cards, like for instance, Tissa would buff fewer Nagas. I don't know if they're looking at that. Maybe they just change the way how some other things work, and suddenly you can have that interaction. Maybe, but I think in its current form, it's completely ridiculous that the Siren triggers a Tissa because it's just you gain so many stats for free.
Yeah, I'm looking. What would be problematic? I guess in Naga specifically. I mean, I think almost all the Nagas are playable, right? Like, I'm not. Is there any Naga that's too weak? Like, are you like, this Naga, I never touch it? Not really. Yeah, I'm looking and I don't really see that. uh, at all, right? They all have something to do. Maybe Brute. Well, but Brute is okay. Like, yeah.
It's like Brute. Like if you're doing well, the Brute gets sold, but
Yeah,
it's a good
that's the thing, right? Like because of this meta, everyone's trying to high roll, and some cards are like shunned away because of it. Which is a
I
bit
think it
weird.
just depends on whether you get your train up and rolling. I think if you don't, a Brute is fine to keep on your board. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can't use a Brute as a carry and expect to outscale a Tissa, right? But it's just like like I've had the bear off Brute Dream. That was great. It was fun.
Okay.
But yeah, I've had boards where I've had like a 40 or a 50-50 Brute, and I just sell it because it doesn't have
Oh,
spellcraft on
crafts,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
will sell it
It,
for a 5
it
horse
it's
siren.
it's very interesting that if like before this meta, if you were to talk about some of like the more important things, you'd say, oh, Amalgadon or Nightmare Amalgams back in the game. That's going to be really interesting. But you literally never see it because it just doesn't have
Yeah.
spellcraft. It doesn't, and it's also kind of hard. I've done well with one game where I was able to poison the Amalgadon and then give it
Yeah.
module, right? But that's like one game out of how many I've played, right? It's not common.
It's indeed pretty rare. Like I've had a Light Fang game on that was the game on. So this is a specific thing that, like I can't help but just like think about it because it was also today. But something really fun is if you have Eel Bound, which is the 4 drop that gives +8 attack. So some people might not know it yet, but if you put that on a magnetic in the shop, you can then magnetize and the buff becomes permanent. So what you can do is you can put that on a menace or you can put that on a module and then put that on your amalgam and give it more attack that way. So that was the game where I came in second with a Starfang, where I had like 2 amalgams, I had a Light Fang, and that was part of my engine. My Naga was a golden eelbound, and I would put +16 attack on a magnetic every turn. Hopefully, I rolled it most of the turns, and then I can put a magnetic on one of the amalgams or on a pup pot that I had. So that is a that was kind of a cool thing to do. But yes, I agree. Amalgam overall in the current iteration of the game, which by the way, guys, like it's not gonna stay like that. Like as a lot of people they just say like, oh, I'm not touching this game, or like I can't believe like it's so crazy. And it's like, yeah, okay. The game is, Nagas are overtuned, but I would rather have it this way than they come out too weak. Because a good point Lorinda made in my chat was that this is something that allows you to really learn how to play with Nagas and to see how Nagas work. Whereas if you release Nagas and they're actually quite weak and you just don't want to play Nagas, you don't learn how to play with them either. So it's like they're really prominent, really strong. You learn how to play with Nagas, they then get toned down. And then if you happen to
Okay.
roll into
I
the.
mean, you
Yeah,
could give the Quillboar example. I've learned how to play Quillboars. They get toned down. I've learned how to play Quillboars. Don't touch them. Like what?
that's not true.
Okay,
That is
play Gem
not true.
Splitter. Play a Gem Splitter and move on with your life, or Flat Toes Agam, and
Well,
that's
ground
it.
shaker, you learn what works with the ground shaker. You learn the
You
board
would
space.
know.
You
I
learn how.
mean, you would know those cards are good, right? I feel like even
Yeah,
if they
we would
weren't,
know, but not your average player if they
no,
weren't playing with them at the
that's
start.
their
But I
fault.
mean, it's not like you wouldn't learn ever, but it's more like an accelerated learning process. I'm not
So,
saying that.
so
Oh,
you're
this is the
buffing you're
perfect.
buffing weaker players or what? Like giving them time to learn things while we would understand it on earlier. I don't know. Like what's the point of
Well,
it?
whenever I'm talking about it, it's not coming from a point of, oh, I think this is correct because X. I look at different angles and I talk about this is part of the advantages of making your new. Well, first of all, if Blizzard spends a lot of time making a new tribe and it's complete garbage and you don't want to play it, that's obviously worse, right? Because then it's like, oh, you guys, like new meta, haha, we're still playing Amalgadon. Let's say Amalgadon was still in and the Nagas suck. It's like, okay, I'm still playing Brand 7. Cool, I guess. Nice patch, Blizzard. Of course, you can't win. If you're Blizzard, you can't win because you make it too strong. It's like, oh my god,
You can win. You just have to perfectly balance the meta, Shady.
but then have it perfectly balanced for
Or
each individual player, right?
internally, you don't put a high level tournament right 3 days after the patch. That's how you win. That's another.
Most people don't care, right? Once again, this is very specifically to the competitors.
I mean, competitors.
And there's 16 of those, right? And then the people that also compete in qualifiers who can empathize.
There is a larger group of subset that care about competitive integrity, I would say, than the 16 players.
Sure, but what percentage are we talking of?
Yeah, it might not be high, but they are also vocal. I would say, being myself, I'm pretty vocal. You know, you're XQ and all the other high level players, right? They a lot of the times what they say gets talked about, right? Like if I were to like come out and like have a whole twit longer or whatever, like I hate this. there would be some talk, right, per se, where sometimes if you're just like a casual player and you're like, oh, I don't like this meta, it's like, I don't know. Sorry. It's not the same, right? So I do think even if it's not a large subset, it is an important subset to, at least be aware of. Maybe not cater, but like just be aware of the competitive players. They don't like us doing this or that.
This is you talking about the timing of the patch, yes.
Yeah. If there was no tournament with this patch, I would, like, Frogger patch or whatever, we just laughed it off. At least I did. Yeah. I wasn't even playing that first week. I just laughed it off. Frogs are broken. Oh, Wellsmarker's okay. Ha ha, very funny, Shady. I see you're struggling. Ha ha. I didn't care, right? Because there was no like important tournament right afterwards. Like if you're telling me, oh, you got playing the frog meta, and I'm like, oh no, why? I'd be like, why, Blizzard? Why are you doing this?
Here's the thought, Collins. The more I have played, the more I think that your optimal strategy in Lobby Legends
is to just go scam.
Well, is to just go hard on the tempo. Well, first of all, let's look at it this way. Right?
Oh, go full tempo. I mean, but that's always the strategy.
Well, not really, right? Because okay, so first of all, let's put the baseline. Yes, Nagas are overtuned, and they should be nerfed probably at some point.
Yeah.
But everyone's like pretending like the way how you see streamers play on ladder, they're going to be able to replicate that in Lobby Legends, where you can power level for sixes for That's not happening. You're gonna die if you do that, right?
Yeah, you're gonna get murdered. Yeah.
Sometimes you can do it, right? You play in a Maiev and you have a good start, right? You pull into sixes, sure. But the main and most competitors, almost all, right, are probably going to be aware of that, and they're not going to fall into that trap. But you might see a couple people like over leveling a little bit and getting severely punished by people with like I think the average MMR you gain with Naga might be lower than the average MMR you're gaining. Well, tournament MMR, right? If you're talking tournament MMR, you're talking points. The average point you're gaining might be lower with Naga than with Beast or with Mech. Those two specifically are very high tempo.
Sure. I mean, but that's a whole. We're going into a whole another like tournament meta discussion.
Yes, but I'm just throwing that out there because like right now, people are pretending like you're only going to see Naga, and that's the only thing.
But that's not the argument I was making. Right?
No, not you, but just in general when I'm looking around.
Sure.
And this doesn't mean that I think it's a good idea to put the patch on this time, and that doesn't mean
regardless of what the meta is, right? I'm more complaining about the timing than you should.
Okay, so that is okay. So those are two very separate things, and it's good of you to point that out. So to make that discussion a little bit more clear, Collins says like, well, it's not fair that people only get like 4 days to practice and that you don't get to play the tournament on the patch you qualified. Yes, roughly, right? Like another argument I'm seeing, right, is that,
There's also so many things that can go wrong with having a patch right before a tournament in terms of like figuring out what to do.
I mean, overall, I think if you're talking competitive, just in general, being nice to the players, right? Being nice to the players, yes. If you're accommodating the players, the best you can. Yes, they qualify on a certain patch. You try to get the tournament on that same patch. Now, the way how the qualifiers and Lobby Legends is structured, that's going to be tough to do every time. So you'd have to play on a previous patch, kind of like you said in League. But then that's really
or
weird,
delay the
right?
patch.
Or delay the patch. But then, like usually the tournaments are more around the patch as opposed to the patch around the tournament.
Right,
But
right.
yeah.
I mean, that's something you'd have to think about going forward.
Yeah, 'cause I don't think the solution to that is so easy
Like,
because
yeah, there's
hard to
no
drop a
clear
patch.
solution. 3 day, like the tournament's tomorrow, actually, right? Like, there's no there's no clear solution that you can implement to fix it tomorrow. You have to think about. You have to let this play out, right? We haven't seen the tournament yet. We have to let this play out, and
this
then
this is the thing. The reason, sorry, please continue.
yeah, go for it. No, go for it. No,
Well, the
interrupt
reason
me.
why I brought this up is because I on Twitter there were also some suggestions to say, can we please nerf Nagas quickly before the tournament? It's like,
Oh,
you want to give them less than
that was what
yeah
Celeste said. I remember. I saw
yeah
that.
yeah.
I
I would
saw
say,
that.
like, do you want to give them less than 24 hours to practice that new patch? And like, I can see, I'm not saying that one is right or the other, but I can see both sides here for sure. So
I can't. Right?
well,
That's you. What created the problem? You're gonna add on top. You're
make
gonna
it even worse,
solve the
right?
problem by creating the same problem. It's just, like, what are you doing?
this is where it ties in, where I was talking about, where we haven't seen the tournament meta. Like, it might be that there's a lot of people forcing Nagas that do really, really poorly in the tournament. Where sure, the winner of the lobby, right, is probably playing Nagas,
Yeah,
but maybe not even, right? Because of just I've won my lobbies as well with Beasts, where you're just like really aggressive, killing people. So we're gonna have to see. So yeah, I guess we see eye to eye there, where I think that it would be too early to nerf. Like, if you're going to nerf them,
it
then
wouldn't be too early if there
by
wasn't a
risking the
tournament. Like, once again,
Yes,
like, that's if there was no tournament and you want to nerf today, I'm perfectly fine with it, right? But since people have to understand how to play the game, how to understand, like, they need time. You can't play one game and understand the meta. It takes longer than that. For maybe there's a person that can play one, like, 30-minute game, 30 turn game and be like, oh yeah, I've figured everything now. But it takes longer, so you can't just, like, be like, oh yeah, we need to nerf things immediately because there's a problem. Because people need to understand how to play the patch, and even if the patch is unbalanced, people need to understand how to abuse that. So you can't toss in a hot fix here. Like, it's not the solution.
Even then, like, you like, at the first day, my understanding from the first day to the second day to the third day, it's like, and hopefully to the fourth day to the fifth day, like, it keeps evolving and changing, and I think that's probably the biggest disservice, right, we do to the competitive play, is that we see some really awesome shit when players are so completely confident on the patch, and they have some, like, I think that the one of the things is, like, that test game that I played with the Sneed Buddy and the Tricksters and stuff. There's no way if it's day 3 that I'm gonna do that. There's no fucking way. Like, there's no way. Like, my brain is not going to do that.
Yeah.
So you're just going to see less really, really cool stuff, where you see players who have just practice and be like, I know this. I've seen this very, very niche scenario in one of my games before on, like, day 28 when I was practicing. It's like, yes, I know what to do here. That's some cool stuff. You're not going to get that. Yeah. So that is probably one of the biggest, disservices
what makes me sad is something a little different. You're gonna see mistakes, like, where if we go, like, 2 weeks later and you watch that game again, that player will be like, oh, what was I thinking? Right? You're like, almost probably every player in that tournament, except maybe the winner or something, is like, will watch that tournament 2 weeks later and just think to myself, what was I doing? This makes no sense. This play doesn't even have any chance of victory here. And it's just sad because you don't have that time to really figure out, like, what the optimal lines are. Like, I think with the Bunny Meta, like, Bunny Meta's imbalanced, but you could really feel like people understood, like, the imbalance, and like, oh yeah, I need to do this, or this one line is the only line I can see from my position to have a chance to win, right? Where some people just, like, not hit a Tissa, not hit uh, tender, roll it down for Leroy and Mantis Queen, and then if they don't hit it, they die. And they're going to be their whole tournament. Because that's the only thing they've learned, right? Like, oh,
That's
I
what
need
they
to do
do.
that.
Okay.
And it's going to be so sad, like, looking back and be like, oh, no, you had a line here, you had a line here. Obviously, you don't
Yeah, you
win,
could
but
have
maybe
bought
you can,
this,
like,
right? Or like you didn't
recover,
make the
etc.
level here. Like you could have waited a turn. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
stuff like that.
And it's just like, it's too soon for such a big change to really expect these players, like, even though they're very skilled, to kind of have that mastery of a meta, and it's just gonna be like subpar play for the tournament, I think, and that just
The
makes me
count
sad.
the counter argument to that, which once again, I like
Yes, sure.
taking the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
opposite
Go. You play devil's
position. I
advocate
like
for
to be
sure.
reasonable. So the counter argument to that is that you now allow for a different skill, which is the very quick adaptation. Like who can, so you can
But
almost
that
like
is not the skill that was tested. That's my annoyance about it.
yes, but you can compare that a little bit. I'm not sure if you're familiar with. I'm not even sure if that's still how the way it went, but competitive Magic, at least you used to play a portion in a limited format where you would play and
Sure.
you would just get some packs offered and you have to draft, and then you'd play a portion in the constructed,
You,
and there might be like a qualifier where you had to play constructed or whatever, and then you go
you
to the
knew
big
that
tournament
going
and you
in,
have
right? I would assume.
yeah, okay, like but just saying that the that might be the counter argument that people say, like, well, this way we get to see how well rounded you are as a player if you have that early adaptation as well. And I think some of the players, probably not a lot, but some of them say like, okay, I like that more because I'm good at that
Yeah, yeah.
and I
Like,
probably have a better
to
chance
be
of
fair,
doing well.
I'm good at that. Like, but
Yeah,
that
you are.
doesn't mean that I'm okay with it, right? Like, just because
Yeah.
it fits my skill set doesn't mean, oh, this is something I resonate with, or I want to move going forward. And not all the tournaments are or looking for that skill set, right? Like the last tournament,
Mhm.
I didn't have to learn how to play frog in 3 days, right? It's a very like arbitrary way of like testing players, especially when that's not the what they qualified, right? They didn't go in being like, oh, I need to be really good at like figuring out a meta in 3 days. Like that's
Yeah.
I'm gonna climb this month because I know that's gonna be really important this month or so.
Mhm.
Like you could argue that um, people were like there was some evidence that the patch was gonna happen, but it's hard to like put that as you're climbing, thinking, oh yeah, this is gonna be very key for the finals.
So to reply to that, from what I remember you saying, would you say it's then okay the next time because now a precedent has been set in BGs because of this precedent has been made
Well,
and limited, or would you just say it's less of a problem?
I'll tell you two things. First of all, I want to hear if they have a response. You know, like what's their thoughts on it, right? Because we haven't really heard from Blizzard what their official like thoughts on like doing this kind of thing, right? If they say, we had this tournament, things worked out, we were happy with the results of this tournament. It was very popular. It was like it was most watched or whatever. People are playing Nagas, and we like doing this, and we'll continue to do this. Then it's gonna be hard to be like, well, Blizzard said it's fine. I guess I'm just not gonna play anymore. It's gonna be hard to say that, and also like from even if Blizzard says something, right? You also have to hear the response from the wider community, right? Like if random casual players are watching a tournament and be like, this is a pretty big fiesta, like that's a big, and that's like the general sentiment. Then even if Blizzard says something, it's going to be harder to make that stance and be like, oh yeah, we're fine with it, but like a lot of the casual players and the competitive players are watching it and think it's a bit weird that it was in this format. Then it's a little harder. So it kind of depends on what the results are, what the opinions of the wider community, like whatever I say and whatever Blizzard says, it has a certain effect to it, but really it's all a community effort and it really depends on how people respond to it. So that would be my initial response, but I'm sure you have more to say.
Well, I just had a small, like, I guess, thing to add on when you were saying, like, how will your average player like react to that? if we are being honest, if you look at Twitch chat or your average reply
Don't look
to
at,
a
don't do
tournament,
that. Don't.
well, you know, I would argue that the meta we had right before this was actually really nice. You know,
Skill
overall, I
testing.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, skill
Yeah, I
testing.
liked
Yeah,
it. I
yeah.
like Buddy. But you ask most you do like a random check. Most people are gonna say, "Man, it's just about who gets more Amalgadons. It's so dumb. It's just
but
poison. There's just no skill. You just Tefin,
I
poison,
do
donk."
think a lot of people didn't like playing it, but they liked watching Buddy Meta, like per se. They liked, oh yeah, I get to see the whoever I'm watching do these cool things with buddies. Like, oh, I couldn't imagine doing,
Yeah.
or figuring out this line. Oh, that was a really cool line that you saw there, where I never would have looked at that direction. So I do think there was a little bit difference where playing it right, like, it can feel frustrating, but watching it and you don't have like that
You don't have to
visceral,
think
like,
about
I've
it. We're
lost
gonna have
here.
to donk.
Yeah. It is a little bit better. So I don't think it's all like that last meta was all downsides. There are some benefits for buddy meta in terms of like watchability.
Yeah, no, fair. We've I guess we haven't really strayed, right? We've just kind of
everything
meandered.
everything is
Meandered into like more talking about the tournament, and I think that is fair because it's indeed something that I think is worth, especially as like a smaller but part of the community of voice, right, with our podcast. I think it's good to indeed talk about it, and I do want to make it clear that overall I do think it would be it'd be better if we can figure out a way to have the patch be on the same as they qualified on, or at the very least have more time to prepare. I think the immediate question there is, are we willing to settle for fewer lobby legends for that to
there's a
happen?
question in chat, right? Is that what you're reading? Since we have lobby legends every month, it's almost impossible to
I
have
think
time.
I think it's a good one to feel free to read it, yeah.
Almost impossible to have time to prepare between patch and tournament. Would you rather have lobby legends each month with this handicap, or fewer lobby legends additions so you can prepare after a patch? They're asking me. I personally like that there's more lobby legends. I don't think having to wait is necessarily beneficial. I do think more like, because there is a lot of benefits to lobby legends itself besides the money, besides the preparation, right? Just the notoriety of doing well in a Blizzard sanctioned tournament can be really good. And this is generally for streamers, but a lot of the competitors end up being streamers because they have the time to practice, and you're watching the streamers because they're good a lot of times, or they're funny, or they have friends that, I don't know, whatever. But like a lot of the times, if you're doing well in lobby legends, that can help you a lot. So just having more opportunities to showcase your skill, because a lot of times you'll see a lobby legend and then like the casual people are like, who is that person? Who is that person? Who is that person? I don't know any of these people. And that is interesting, right? Because a lot of times they've been streaming, they've been playing well for a long time, but it's sometimes hard to kind of differentiate yourself, kind of stand out, be noticed, especially in these wide competitions like in Twitch or Hearthstone, right? A lot of times, a lot of the viewers will watch the same like one person or so, right? So just having more of these helps you differentiate yourself. If you do well in lots of tournaments, that can make you stand out. So I wouldn't have less of them. I don't think that would be overall helpful for the competitive player base, just to have less. Even if the prize was like added together, I still think you'd rather have more of them. But it's more the timing, I would say. I wouldn't want to have 3 days to prepare for any tournaments at all. Like I just think that's not enough time. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, you have a month to prepare, but like maybe like a week and a half. I feel like a week is like the minimum for me. But I remember trying to practice Storybook Brawl. I had a week to practice. And after a week, I felt good at the game, but I got crushed by the people that played from the beginning. I got absolutely destroyed.
They had more time though, right?
Yeah, they've been playing since the game came out, right? Essentially.
Yeah.
And I just played it casually. No, I played seriously for a week. I learned, but and I could beat ladder. I could beat the people in ladder, but the
Yeah.
people in the tournament very different understanding of the game than the people casually in ladder. Like I was winning all my ladder games. I was feeling. I thought I was like, oh, I'm pretty good. I go in and I get destroyed. But however, after that tournament, uh, if I played it again, I think, and I had like a week and a half to practice instead of a week, I feel I would have done significantly better, even with that extra 3 days of practice, and also having that tournament experience itself, and then a little bit
That's funny.
more time of practice. I feel I would have done significantly better than what I did. Right, so there is a limit to how much time you need, and especially when it comes to people that have played Hearthstone for a long time, like that time lowers, right? Like as you've played more battlegrounds, you don't need as much time to like understand because there's basics and fundamentals that you know of, right? Where I was
So
basically learning a new
just
game.
to quickly interject, then it is okay for you to play the game on a different patch, then, but it is not okay to have the
Such
practice
little
time for
time,
that
yeah,
patch.
yeah,
Yes. So I guess just hypothetically speaking, I guess it would be quite possible to have the tournaments continue on their current pace, but it would
yeah,
just be that we have, let's say, a minimum of a week and a half,
yeah,
right,
something like that. Yeah,
of
I
practice
I
time.
think it's gonna be so. It would be such a hard ask to say, oh, tournament and patch have to always be the same.
Yeah,
And
that was be my main problem.
the
I think if we want to, which like once again, I really love what they're doing, right?
yeah,
Just imagine if we were talking about this last year. We're saying, you know what, that big monthly tournament that we have right now, it's a little, it's a bit annoying. That I'd be like, shut up, give me a monthly tournament. I
it,
don't care. 3 days to
I
practice, I'll do it, right? Yeah.
I'm always of the belief that even if things are okay, that doesn't mean you can't talk about the downsides, right? Like even if the world
Absolutely.
is doing okay, you still have to admit the world's on fire right there. Like this whole section of the earth is on in flames. Like can we talk about can we talk about this? It's like no, but the other part of the earth is green. We're doing well. Global warming, things aren't. That part is on fire. Like I mean, I see it. I have to talk about it. It's right there. So I just don't. I mean, I do. I do understand. And I appreciate that they are having tournaments and it's great, right? But still, it as a competitor, I have to mention that this feels super awkward. To just have
Yeah.
a tournament like 3 days and then like, oh yeah, here you go, learn everything. Like it's not really feasible for most of the competitors, no matter how good they are. Right? Everyone's a human. There are some issues with humans, and learning things quickly. Right? It can take a while. So that's my issue. But yeah, I think a week and a half would be pretty like feasible for me. Like a week is still like sketchy,
Yeah.
right? Like
2 weeks be great, but that's maybe a big ask,
yeah,
right? That's a
two
lot.
two weeks with 2 weeks is you can generally learn. Like you can generally get to a master tier, um, i- if you have the fundamentals. But like 3 days,
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't say so. A week is like you're very much scratching the surface of what's possible. A week and a half, I think, is like you're comfortable. You're fairly comfortable, but not like perfectly comfortable in like what you're doing. You're going to go into situations that you've never seen before, even with a week and a half of heavy practice. That's 3 days. Almost every player in the tournament is going to be in a situation they've never seen before. A week, almost most players will like a week and a half. A lot of players will be like pretty comfortable, but a lot like you'll get into a situation where you've not seen before. 2 weeks, you might get there, but you're probably doing well at that point. Like if 2 weeks of practice and you're in a situation you've never seen before, you're probably like, oh, this is like for my life, and I need to like figure out every single option. You're in a situation where like you need this win or so you're thinking outside the box in situation. So I would be okay with like a week and a half generally.
I think that it's that is something that we can still discuss, right? And
Sure.
like, but indeed, so it's also only an issue. Like, how many of these cycles do we have? Is it 3 or 4 tournaments per cycle like that?
So it's the expansions for they've introduced seasons, but they haven't really been clear about it. But
Hmm.
generally, the like expansions for BGs is usually like a month after the Hearthstone constructed expansions. It's
Yeah,
usually
and
how
those
it's been
are
going. It's
3
three
a
a
year, I
month, I
think.
believe. 3 a year.
Yeah,
So
so that means roughly 4 tournaments if you're doing one every month, right?
yeah.
I'm not sure
So
if
like
we're actually gonna.
3 or 4 tournaments where this
Yeah,
situation will come up. Yeah.
so you'll have just
Oh,
the 1 in 3 or
yeah.
so,
And
depending on how
these are like
many.
the big patches, right? Like not we're
Yeah,
not really talking about those small like uh hot fakes. I'll change like some armor here or
seven,
there.
seven,
So
3 to 4, basically, which is significant, right? Don't get me wrong, that was a big change to the meta, but it's not Nagas,
yeah, it's not
right?
Nagas. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not
So
Nagas. Okay, now
you
that's
c-
fair.
you can get away with less time frame on those smaller ones. It's just like those huge Naga, Dragon, Crowbar patches, right? You need more time to understand what you're doing. So
Okay, I think that I can absolutely get behind that. The main problem I had was it's tough. It's real tough to keep the patch the same. The one you qualified
right.
on, the
Yeah,
one you're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
play the tournament.
It would like unless you had less tournaments, which I don't want, right? Like that's not
Yeah,
the
no,
goal.
I would indeed much rather qualify on, even though like in an ideal world you play on the same thing, but
Right, right.
I would much rather play on a new patch with some time to prepare if it means I have a shot at qualifying every single month. That's really cool.
That's just the I guess that's the what's the thing in the closet, the skeletons in the closet we talk about. We haven't actually talked about this tournament, what we expect from the Lobby Legends tomorrow. Like we haven't actually talked about what you think it's gonna look like or anything like
Yeah, right. I mean, I think that we're gonna see a lot of tempo like do really well, and I think we're gonna see less like omega power level Naga do, at least, like, I think Nagas win most lobbies. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong,
I
right?
think
Like
that's
in
gonna
most,
be true.
even though you're up against really strong players, you're still gonna see Nagas win the lobby. But I think we're going to see more, like, you're not going to be as aggressive as on ladder. So I think we're going to see more deflecto, more
See,
mama
see,
bear.
I would
Yeah,
agree with that if there was more than 3 days of practice, right? Like I think some
right.
players are gonna default to their ladder
Be
experience.
too locked into the this
Yeah,
is what worked on ladder, so I'm
yeah.
going to go hard for the Nagas. And I think that is fair. I think these are really strong players though, so I think most of them are going to
I want to
try
believe that,
to.
oh yeah, they're gonna like I do I want to believe like, oh yeah, they're gonna
Yeah.
understand like, oh, it's a different meta, everything, but they've just been like high rolling Nagas for like 3 days straight, right? Like,
Hey, let's go for
it's just
Tifa.
like, oh
Let's
yeah,
go.
just change
Yeah.
everything, it's like they're gonna default to their practice. That's how players work, and
It's more
they're
like an instinct, right? You see
yeah,
that shop and you see, like, I can level here.
I can
Like,
level here, yeah. and,
15? How do I take 15 here?
and,
That's
and, and,
crazy.
and maybe after like the first 2 games, like you might see some
Yeah.
like
Or
more
after the
experiment.
first
Like they'll
game,
be
even, right?
learning on the fly,
Yeah.
essentially. But that first game, I'm pretty. It's pretty gonna be pretty high roll. I think what's gonna happen is 2 players are gonna high roll, right? Like everyone's gonna try to high roll, but 2 players are actually gonna high roll, and those players will be dominating the lobbies. Then you have everyone else playing catch up, right? Either going Leroy scam to like mitigate damage, or like trying to play some other tempo thing that they got. But I still think the 2 players that are Naga centric will probably be like top 1, top 2, essentially. And then like the people that found a way to stabilize in some other composition will be 3 and 4, and then like eighth and seventh will also be Nagas. They didn't hit, and then sixth, fifth, and sixth are like probably the unlucky fools that fought the top 1 and 2, like and that's the meta. Like that's my thought. But yeah, it's gonna be weird to watch. Like I hope it's not as fiesta feeling as ladder feels. That's my hope. Like, I don't want to come out of the tournament being like, yeah, that guy could have done that too. Like, I could have. I mean, obviously, I could, but that like some random player could have done the same thing. Essentially, like I don't really want that to be the feeling, for most of the players coming out. I want to, but it's going to be so hard since there's not enough time to really figure out the kinks in the meta of like, oh yeah, this is what you do. But yeah, it's gonna be like, even if that's what happens, that is still like a weird outcome to have. Where you come out of the tournament, everyone's playing like one comp. There's no real like alternative strategy to it because the one comp is just way stronger, and it feels like you have to play the same way, and it kind of it's going to be hard to differentiate yourself. Like the winner played Nagas. Oh, the next winner is playing Nagas. Oh, the winner after that, oh, he did something really weird. He transitioned into Nagas. He didn't get a tender immediately. He rolled into a tender. Wow, it's so different.
I will say that it is kind of difficult to transition into Nagas.
Yeah, because everyone's forcing it.
Yeah.
If you don't get it early, it's all gone. And then you're just like, yeah.
Yeah, you need to have the infrastructure sort of set up, right? You either get a very early Tissa and then build around that.
So it's funny, right? Like that is something very different. Like, this guy did something it really is very different to transition to Nagas. That would be a real thing. But yeah, I feel you. Since everyone's looking for it, it's hard to transition. You need to have the setup beforehand.
It's also because you're going up against other people that are already scaling. It's really hard to like get the pieces and then catch up as well.
Yeah.
So there seems to be this very short window in which you can compete with the scaling Nagas. Now, sometimes you're in a weird lobby where no one's hit yet, right? And then of course it can work. But most of the time there's one or two that have already hit. So if you're still chasing the Atissa too deep into the game, that's when you're like, well, all I needed was Atissa. I was like, well, cool, right? Yeah, that means like all I needed was the entire comp, because
do you think that makes Tess worse than you thought? Because if you're the second one,
I've been really liking Tess, but you have to. I always say they have to be very proactive. Like I don't like sitting on a low tier with Tess. I don't
like you did in Buddy Meta, right? You could do that in Buddy Meta where you could sit.
I didn't do that either. When I played Test, I also leveled. So I always tried to be proactive because in Buddy Meta, I think it was easy because your buddy provided you with free tempo and value. So I think it was very easy to level.
Yeah, you just hit the Gallicron and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you hit like a Galley, you hit a Phelan, you hit a
there's so many.
You hit an Alex, you hit a Brandon, took the brand. You're like, there's a million things that can happen as Test that just allows you to be strong and level. Of course, if you hit like some amazing board, then stay on tier 4, steal the entire thing. Right? That I do that too sometimes. Right? But what I mean is, I think some people when they play Test, they just have this mindset, kind of like a cat, where like, okay,
I'll win in the late game.
I'm taking deflectos, I'm taking pure tempo, I'm bunkering down. As long as I keep my health high, I can tank the high roll and then steal the shit. And that doesn't work because you're a turn behind them or 2 turns behind them, right? Depending on how long they've had this. So you're not suddenly going to get bigger than them. Even if you're healthy, it's still really difficult. You got to make your own moves, right? You got to already have that show. You got to already have that fire.
It's not like a Malgadon. Right? That's the difference.
Stats matter. You don't have poison on your stuff. So stats matter, which means that you have to be ready to start scaling if you're going to be playing Nagas, which most of the time you're going to be doing as Tess. So that's what I mean with Tess. You got to be proactive. You got to. So both my Tess games have been first, I think. Right. So I like
that. Doesn't mean anything. First of all,
that does not mean anything.
But I hear you.
Yeah, it feels pretty good to me. Where I was proactively looking for my own board so that I could immediately start doing things the moment I get.
You don't have to spend your whole turn getting the Atissa engine and everything. Like you can already start scaling immediately.
I didn't have to transition out of an entire tempo comp. That's basically it. Yes. I was just like, sometimes it was just like, oh, I'll take the second Tissa, right? I was just like, I guess to put it into practical example is, if I had a triple, I wasn't going to be like, I'll triple into a 4 for some tempo. Like, I'll try to get my own 6.
Okay.
try to get my own Tissa, I'll try to get my own tender so that I already have my comp. And then when I hit a good Naga board, it's just added, right?
It's not even fair. Yeah,
That's
you
when you get
fix
nasty.
everything. Yeah.
You get your second Tissa, you get your second tender, you get your golden siren, right? You get your second dark glow skill or whatever. So that's, it's just ding, right? You get the entire shop and you're just happy. But I think that's why I see a lot of tests die early. And I think part of that is that they do have that mentality of I'm just going to or not get there, right? Either die early or not get there. And I think they have that mentality of I'll just let the high roller come to me.
Right. Yeah.
And by that time it's too late.
Yeah. So overall, like, I think we talked about it. We think Naga should be nerfed, right, in some way. I don't necessarily know everything that needs to be changed, but that's kind of what happened in Crowbars as well, where they just kind of hit a lot of things. And then some things felt justified, some things didn't. They unnerfed it, like, but way later on, right? Because nowadays, Crowbars kind of have, like, very similar initial base power levels, but some of, like, the key things that were making Crowbars too strong got touched, right? And then that, overall, like, I don't know, with power creep or whatever, it's kind of interesting. Like, we haven't really talked about the non-Crowbar stuff, like Dark Gaze Elder. I think this card's really good, right? And
Yes.
once they nerf Crowbars, people will start playing this spread, right? Like, right now, it's hard to do anything else because the Nagas just kill you. But I actually think this card is, like, really, really strong. This, like, this might be the strongest card they release. Funny, like, you know, you could argue, like, oh, Siren, blah blah blah, but, like, in terms of, like, what this can do by itself, like, it's a lot of stats without, like, trying. Like, if you just get one.
I think the really cool thing is once you realize Amalgam is a Quillbore.
Yeah.
Right. So this means you can run this card and Agam and like 2 Amalgams, and then you have a board where you have the perfect menagerie.
Now,
Like you can even
what
run.
you should do is run this and then double Agam. You know, that's the nuts. Double Agam. Actually,
But it depends if you could get a big enough spread, right? But
yeah,
yes,
you need to have
you have
a
a big
spread.
enough spread, like Amalgam, essentially, if you can get Amalgam. But I mean, if we're talking like that, you just run 2 of these, right? You just run 2 of these.
That's true.
Right,
Just
just
run
run 2 of
these.
these. Yeah, just run more Dark Gaze. So you just it's kind at that point it's kind of like a Tissa, right? Where like sure, I might have 5 or 6 Quillbore, if I count my Amalgams. But who cares? I'm just throwing bludgeons on everything, so everything's getting
And what's crazy is like the synergy with Necrolite as well. Like you just make a huge cleave out of nowhere. Like out of nowhere, I'm just like, oh, one turn. Just here's 100
you
cleaves.
hit 2 Necros, you're like, I'll take those.
Yeah. So there's some nuts with this, but it's just because of Nagas, you don't really see that. And like even I've seen, I see some people play it, and it's just like it just dies to Nagas, and you're just like, yeah. I mean, it doesn't look good, but it is very good. Like just not the meta for it.
I played this with Golden Shaker, and that felt awesome. I was just pumping my Golden Shaker by just rolling. It was fun. But yeah, it is indeed. So I think the sentiment I had towards this card is that this may very well just become a problem if it does not get nerfed, which it most likely does not, just because Nagas are so dominant that this is most likely not even
it's like the Prester problem, right? When we initially talked about the last meta, it was like, oh, this is a problem. This is getting nerfed.
They're gonna nerf this. They're not gonna nerf that, but they're not gonna nerf Prester.
Yeah, or Macro. They're they eventually nerfed Macro, but did they really? But like they're not touching these problematic cards. I get that feeling with Dark Gaze. They're gonna be so focused on Nagas that they're gonna leave this alone, and then it's just gonna like be the problem. And then we're gonna have another like 2.5 weeks, if not longer, of like this just being a problem.
Like a little a la Flat Tusk, right? Where it's like, well, I guess I just go triple into Flat Tusk. Oh, I had a Flat Tusk and an Naga.
Yeah.
Those were like interesting days, right? Can you imagine saying that now? Like he got Flat Tusk Agam, like he wins the game. Right?
Well, I mean, it still happened, like actually. Even in Buddy meta.
No, that's like they hit Golden Agam double Flat Tusk, right? Golden Hogger to fund the Pirates shopping. That's another one, right? Like right now you don't see Hogger.
No, you don't see anything. Yeah. I mean, you only
No,
see
no, no.
Nagas.
You see Eliza, right? You see Beast, you see Mech,
Okay,
right?
yeah,
So you see
you either see super tempo or you
yeah, you
see
see the
Naga.
fast things, but
Yeah,
you don't. Yeah, okay. I will rephrase. You don't see scaling other than Nagas. Yes,
yeah,
or very rare.
that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is indeed a thing that once Nagas are nerfed, this plus Golden Hogger,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then you
yeah,
run Agam.
yeah. Scaling is
So
gonna be very powerful.
yes, you're going to, especially in the no Murloc lobbies, no Sephin, we're gonna see like the counter with Mantid, the counter with Leroy, but there is there is still a very good chance that you're just too big, right? Because two Mantids, two Leroys, that's only 4 cards. If you're running Golden Hogger plus this, and you have Amalgam, you have Agam, everything's large. Most things have Divine Shield, right? If
Yeah.
you're playing Amalgam and Mixer, and so well, maybe you're not even because of Leroy, right? But now we're talking like very
Yeah,
hypothetical next meta.
let's not go into
I
that.
can't help. That's what my brain does, right? I'm like, now I'm thinking, if Quilboar are strong, am I gonna want to module my Amalgam with Leroy? And
It's hilarious that you're like Divine Shield sucks now because like what
yeah,
the
I
hell?
might not want to module my big ass Amalgam because I get Leroy.
Just
So
run
yeah,
another
something to think
taunt.
about, guys. You're
Just
already ahead of the next meta. There you
just
go.
run another
Think,
taunt.
think twice. Yeah.
Um,
But it really depends how big, but whatever. Doesn't matter.
yeah.
Yes. So, long story short, this Quilboar is really strong, but you're not seeing it because Nagas are just pushing it out of the spotlight. But then Nagas are very likely to get nerfed. This is very likely to not get nerfed. So, a prediction is the next meta is going to revolve around Dargaze Elder. Who knows?
Yeah. I feel you, dude. It's so sad, right? Cause like they're trying. I know they are, right? Like and they obviously see the Naga problem, right? Cause it's in their stats, right? But
Yeah.
they haven't, they don't see the other problems because the stats don't reflect this being a problem. But like if you play if you're a high level player, you play the game, you can clearly see, oh, this is probably a huge thing that needs to get nerfed, right? But because it's not in their stats, it's gonna be hard to justify the change, right? So it's just a bit weird. But yeah, I mean, after Nagas get adjusted, and if they get adjusted well, then this is probably going to be the next thing that gets changed, maybe like a month later, hopefully, right? But yeah, Kofium. Uh, but also young Murkai, right, is also a bit weird, right? Because I think
Yeah.
if you can get this comp set up, you can never beat them, right? Like you can't outscale someone who has this setup.
So the way how I've seen this comp is that it is very vulnerable to poison
Yes,
because it's really hard to do this with shields because most of the time what people will do is Swolfin, right? Because the easy one. So you have a Swolfin on either
Soulfin,
side.
Primal Fin, Burgurgle.
Yeah. But it's true. Like I think ideally what you would have is you would have Primal Fin for your engine, and then you'd have Bagurgle. I wouldn't really want Swole ideally because you're concentrating all your stats on 1 or 2 minions.
Yeah, I never do it on Soul, so but
Yeah,
I've
you
seen
know.
it, I've seen it
But
though.
it's
So
it's the easy one, right? People
yeah,
just go like, "Oh, it's great with Swole." You just do it with Swole. I've done it with Swole when it was just up against Nagas, and I was like, "Fuck it," just make big minions. But when we do see Nagas not being so dominant anymore, that is indeed a good shout out that you have these big Murlocs that are coming in, but they really struggle versus Mantid with the shield. They really struggle versus like an
Leroy,
Amalgam,
yeah, Leroy Mantis,
yeah, Leroy and all that.
yeah.
So it's almost like you're gonna have
This
to
is
run a ghoul, right?
yeah,
But then you also want to keep your brand on the board to proc your market. So then you already have a ghoul and a brand, and then yeah,
yeah. The
that's
one weird thing
really
about
tough.
this one is that the counter is in the minion type, right? The
Yeah,
like
Sefin, yeah.
poison, and then Leroy Mantis, and you can counter this board. So, but it means that you're forced into playing that answer because no other thing outscales this. Like if you're like if Nagas are nerfed, you're trying to play beast versus this. No, you're trying to play elementals. Probably not. Like you won't outscale this with stats. You have to go poison. So it kind of has the Naga S counter where you kind of have to do that against Nagas. You're gonna have to do that with this, but you do have the guaranteed SI fin in the lobby, so you can play like random small poisons to deal with it. But it is weird that if you see like a Flurgle with a brand, you're like, well, I just sell my minions. Let me find the SI fin. Like, I'm not gonna beat this if with this random scaling I have, and that's a bit weird, right? Like, oh, there's one Flurry in the lobby, and like, well, there's only one answer already that I have to force.
Yeah. I had this really sad game for the Flurry in my lobby because we're down to a top 4. We've got, I think, a Hook Tusk playing a full beast comp. Myself and Scabs, I can't remember the hero I was. Myself and Scabs, we're both playing a failed Naga comp. So we tried to get the Atissa, we tried to get big enough, didn't work. So we're both doing the thing with the Leroys and the Mantid. And then you have a Flurk who is just absolutely massive, can destroy the beast gamer twice over. But the Flurk hits me into the Scabs, gets a top 4. And the beast gamer wins because he's got tokens against our poison Scabs. So
that's so funny.
That is the good old triangle.
Rock, paper, scissors. Right?
Yeah. That is the stats beating the tokens beating the poison beating the stats. But it was funny to look at the fight and be like, this is not even close. I have 2 Leroys, I have 2 Mantids, I have 7. I'm playing glow scale as well, just rotating it, right, to get an extra divine shield on my 7 and stuff.
And he has like 300, 400 Murlocs.
Yeah,
and you're just
and I could not care less, right? Everything's poison on my board, so it just doesn't do anything. And most of the time, they just can't get themselves to sell the brand because you know it works with the Merc guys, so they're still getting huge.
I had that situation, and I sold my. So I played the counter scam or so with Leroy's and my own divine shields, and I was like favored. I lost like a 20%er, and I was like, this felt bad. Like I just I lost a 50 into a 20% to lose or something. It's just like all right, whatever.
Yeah, a lot of it is also, is your Mantid gonna roll shield? That's a big one.
Yeah, I mean it becomes a coin flip. It's kind of like presser amalgam meta where it's a coin flip, like who goes first, who hits what, and but it still feels weird, right? Just to be like, oh, I played it well, but like this guy had 4/3 poison. I mean, now it's a coin flip. Like, all right, then, I guess so, but we'll see. I mean, I think this card could be pretty busted, right? Like, if once Nagas are toned down a bit, so. That's another card I'm looking at. It's weird because all the cards they added are broken. Like, I don't know. Like, every card, right? Like, because this one, Mantis Queen is very playable. Dark Gaze, right? Both of the 6 drops. Glow Scale. You have the Leroy. They're all, like, problems, right? In their own sense. But yeah, I mean, that's I guess that's just how they add cards. I mean,
either way,
the least problematic card is probably Nightmare Amalgam, which is funny. Like that's the least problematic one. Like, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it's probably with Naga.
Leroy from Coiler is BS. Oh yeah, that's a very good. What the hell? It's so not fair. I've lost the game for that. I've won games with that. It's so not okay. I don't like. Why did they had that before where you could like sneeze it to my Xna and it's just like, how did I lose this game? And you're just like,
we missed that. Let's bring that back. Yeah.
No, it doesn't make sense. Like, what the hell? Not okay with that.
That one was less likely, right? Because you have to go Coiler into Sneak into Max. Now it's just Coiler Leroy.
Yeah. I have one game because I was like, this Reborn Coiler, and that's my game.
Line, right?
And I'll check like the percentages. I have like a 30% to win. Like I have no answer. Like it's just the Reborn Coiler getting double Leroy.
Baby. Let's go.
Yeah. Just ridiculous. That shouldn't be in the game. I just think as a way, like, obviously, so I don't know. Not okay with that. But yeah, Anyways,
I think we're gonna see more amalgam, right, post Naga,
yeah, we
especially
should.
if
We
we're
should.
seeing some dark gaze plus Agam. All right, Collins, is there anything else you want to talk about? Share with the listeners for
Good
this
luck
first.
to all the competitors competing in Lobby Legends tomorrow. But also, suckers. Anyways, but yeah, that's what I was saying.
Imagine qualifying for
Imagine
this one.
qualifying. That would have been me if I
We
didn't.
opted out. We opted out, right? We were
I,
like,
I I just lost two 20% flips. You know, that's I still think I got scammed there. I was gonna make it potentially. That's not true because that would have only been the first round I made it. So may have just lost in the second round. So who knows? Good luck to those players, right? Like, yeah, hopefully it's not all a fiesta, but yeah, that's all I have to say.
all right, good stuff. My parting words, I guess, would be that I try to not really judge a meta too much, whether it's good or bad. I try to just figure out what works and then, how to get to that point in the most efficient manner. And that process to me is fun. So I think if you want to play, but you find yourself being frustrated, try to not really look at it and say, is the meta good or not? Just say, okay, how do I win? What matters? And then try to get better at that. If you don't enjoy it, don't play, right? Because I don't think that's a good strategy. But that's how I enjoy pretty much every meta. I don't think there's a meta that I've played in this game where I'm like, I'm not having fun.
I didn't like the demon meta, the
I
floating
didn't play that,
watcher.
so maybe that's the one I
Okay.
missed. So that's the one, but I didn't play that one. So the metas I've played, there hasn't been one, quote unquote, bad enough to make me not enjoy the game because there's always. I think the best example I can give is the
Imagine
Doomsday
that Tissa's on 3. I guess
Yeah,
that's the
that's
way
Doomsday, right?
that's the way to say it.
Oh, right. You mean like floating watch?
Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
that was Doomsayer meta, but you didn't play that one, right? Either.
No. That's a different meta. I didn't play Doomslayer meta. No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? So you played when floating was
Yeah,
3, right?
yeah. Floating
And I
was
didn't
3.
play
Yeah,
that, and you didn't play when
yeah,
Doomsayer was 3.
yeah.
So basically, we both played in a kind of a silly demon meta where
So it's damn demons.
them damn demons, right? Tier 3 demons, they did not learn, right? Tier 3 demon comes. All right. Anyways, but yeah, that would be my parting words. Just, enjoy the game by figuring out what works. Because, like if some people are doing better than you, then because it's so easy to say, well, nothing matters. It's just about high rolling. Well, some people are doing consistently better than you are. So they're doing something different, right? So there's something you can learn, there's something you can do different. But
Yeah.
you got to be willing to, look at that and you know, it's a little bit put your ego aside and be like, it's, you might be doing something wrong on top of, the meta being in a specific thing. And that makes everything so much more fun.
Yeah, it's I don't want to like throw shade, right? But it's such a cop out, right? Like it's such a tendency of like lower skilled players to blame the situation and not their own play, regardless of what the situation is. It's pretty much always your own play, like regardless of the situation. Most of the time, like that's not always true. Like that's not always true, but you'll notice like anytime you look at the leaderboard, it's like the same names. Like if you look, like even now, it's just but they're grinders, to be fair. Like it's not like if you don't have the time, then you can't really expect that. But it will equal out. Like even it might not equal out at the same rate, but it will equal out that you will start to like be gaining the same points as them, and it'll slow down, right? The beginning is always like whoever plays the most is the highest, right? But then after a while, then the skill is like gonna showcase, and if you're doing well over time, you're gonna surpass the people that grinded. So, regardless, right? Like the people that are really high are like they're players that play well, and they've been known to have good skill. So it's usually just like I need to learn something more than the meta's RNG, because it's not. It's really. I mean, it is. I mean, the meta's always RNG, but you can mitigate that. You can mitigate it to a noticeable percentage, I guess, where you can always tell, oh yeah, this guy is playing better than me, so or girl or whatever or robot. I mean, if they start playing the game. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's all I got. You done? I mean, we done? You need
Yeah,
to
all
sleep,
good.
right?
It was fun talk. Fun. At some point, yes, sleep would be appreciated.
Lobby Legends is tomorrow at 1 a.m. for me. So I don't know if I'm gonna be there, and I don't know if you're gonna be there. Are you?
It's 8 a.m. I'm probably just gonna be playing because those are my good hours. So I will watch the rerun.
You're like so like me, right? Do you want to watch it later? Like
Yeah. So
like just VOD review it later.
yeah, I will do my stream, right, and we can always watch it later, like on or off stream. Like that could be fun.
Has to be on stream, right? Like
Yeah,
that's a lot of free content that I'm waiting.
that's like content.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. So
Yeah, I guess
probably also something that we can upload right here. So
yeah.
something to, well, not to listen to. You'd have to go to the YouTube channel. So if you don't know yet, Collins has a YouTube channel as well. So go.
Sure.
You want to say which one it is? Is that just Educated Collins or?
Yeah, I mean, if you type Educatedcollins YouTube, you'll probably get there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a lot of stuff. There's also like roundtables on there. Roundtables are also like Spotify, I guess, right? Because it's just
yeah,
audio.
everything. I've been putting the roundtables in the podcast now directory, so they're in Apple Podcast. The one thing about them is they show up as bonus, so they don't show up as like an official
That's
thing. So you might have to like scroll all the way to the bottom if you want all the roundtables. They're all together though, but usually you want the most recent one. Yeah. Anyways, I see you've been like banning people the whole time, huh? I don't normally look at the chat, but I've been seeing.
I haven't been banning people. It's just spam bots, right?
All right. It's one guy. He's been here for like 2 years.
It's not people, man. It's not people. It's not...
He is a person though. You got to treat them. They just have
no.
different...
I genuinely think it's on a timer. Like I think it's just
No,
automated.
no. He does it for a while, then he stops. Like it's just how it goes. Like
yeah.
Is that on the timer? No, it's not. He did that to showcase you.
It's on a timer.
It's because you're talking about it. Anyways,
it's AI, man. It knows it.
But yeah, anyways, that will be it for this show.
Wrapping it up.
And we'll see you guys tomorrow. I don't know if I'm playing afterwards. I woke up pretty early, so I don't have a lot of... I mean, I wanted to do other things, you know. But yeah, see you guys later. And yeah, I mean, I'm done. Anything you got?
All good. See you guys next time.
All right, peace out, everybody.